Hello, everyone, and welcome down to the Auto Club Speedway, and welcome to the revived California Speedway 160 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. And what an absolute pleasure it is to be here at a track that no longer exists in this current configuration, although we all probably wish it still did. Currently got practice underway. There's less than 10 minutes to go here in practice. A little bit late getting the broadcast up and going. We look at league founder Jaron Sanchez sitting in the pits. He's currently P8 in the standings. Looks like most people getting ready for a pit party here. Still a couple cars on track. Trying to figure out who they was. But it looks like most people gearing up to get on track now. There's Jonathan Hernandez in the 88 car. We do also have the return of TJ Crampton in the 03, which means that Austin Collins should be in a different paint in the 74 car. Collins currently yet to set a lap. Looks like we're going to have Hernandez leading the way here. Maybe. A lot of checkup going on right now. Not quite knowing what's going on. But we are green. The one thing that I love about Auto Club is that you can go 17 lanes wide here. Oh, as a round, I think that was Patrick Orr there. It was in the 18. Got put around. Sanchez caught up to it in it. So too was Campbell, Slama, and Harmon. Reggie Ortega in the 2 car. Oh, here's a complete separate incident. That's Matt Sisler in the 93 and the 12 of Chris Champeau. Not sure what happened there. That was very weird. Looks like for the most part they've all gone back to the pits to try it again. Alright, here we go for the second attempt at a pit party now. Hernandez once again on the front row, this time with Slama. Harmon and Marquez on the inside line there. There's the 74 of Austin Collins in his brand new paint scheme. He's right behind the 39. It's James Watson. Kind of sad not seeing the TJ car out there again. I mean, I know TJ's racing, but I would have loved to have seen some TJ on TJ violence. They go 4 wide coming out of turn 4. Very quickly became 3 and then 2. We currently have 30 people signed up for this race. Oh, and there's a big crash at the back of the pack. League founder Jaron Sanchez caught up in it again. It was Mark Pentecoff. Also 13 of Travis Massier as well. All wide again. Back down to 3 and then 2. Oh, there's contact between Collins and Sanders, but around. Went to 9 of Slammer as he slammed the inside wall. Wall riding there. That's the 40 of Austin Dan. The time is ticking away from us very quickly here. There's just 90 seconds left in practice, which means we are going to go for a commercial break. And when we come back, we will be getting into the racing action. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink, grab yourself someone to hold on to. When we come back, as I said, we will be racing. Until then, yeah, as I said, just get yourself a drink, get ready, because it should be one hell of a race. Welcome back to the revived California Speedway 160 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. As you can see, qualifying is now complete. It's time for us to start going through our starting grid. On the pole, we have the 38 of Thomas Harmon, and on his outside will be the 03 of TJ Crampton. So now P3, sorry, we had the 40 of Austin Dan, and the 89 of Matt Horton. And we have the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez out of 5th, the 9 of Joe Slarmer out of P6. We have the 67 of Brian Chambliss out of 7th, 74 of Austin Collins out of 8th. 9th will be the 39 of James Watson with 10th, the 15 of Ken Campbell. 11th place we have the 93 of Matt Sisler with 12th, the 7 of Kyle Kraus. P13 we have the 12 of Chris Champeau. Andrew Griesbaum in the 68 will be out of 14th. 15th will be the 2 of Reggie Ortega, with the 44 of Clayton Ward being out of P16. The 61 of Corey Cook will be out of 17th, with Dustin Franklin in the wrong paint in 18th. 74-103. The 13 of Travis Massier will be out of 19th, with Jack Selters in the 25 being out of 20th. The 05 of Scott Rickard will be out of 21st. 18th of Patrick Orr out of 22nd. 23rd we'll see the 57 of Corey, and the 66 Sam Niederhelm also making a return there in 24th. Logan McCannally will be out of 25th in the 19, with league founder Jaron Sanchez out of 26 in the 4. Then we have Thad Faylor in the 21. On his outside will actually be Brian Pizzakemi in the 78. And then we'll have Jonas Marquez out of 29th, with 30th being Mark Pentacuff. And that is your 30 starters and drivers for racing action as the field is starting to pace their way around the track. That's not been too very often lately. We've seen Thomas Harmon qualify it on pole. Good to see him out the front there, though. We have 80 laps of this 2-mile circuit. Who is going to take home the guts and the glory of victory? Only one we're going to find out. Pace car makes a hard left turn into pit lane. The first start is on green. All the restarts will be on the leader inside of the restart zone. And we are off and racing. Very even start there for both of the front row. We already got people starting to dodge out of line now since we've gotten over the line. 40 of Austin Dan from 3rd wants to try and take the lead. 3 wide into turn 1 we go. And it looks like all the momentum at the outside almost worked out for TJ Crampton, as we've got a couple people getting loose. One of them was the 67 car. Can't tell who that is in the background who also got loose. But it's Thomas Harmon leading the way as Hernandez and Crampton battle side by side over 2nd. Looks like at the line it's probably going to be Crampton. And look at the melee in behind them. 2, 3, possibly 4 wide some places. Austin Dan now experimenting with the higher line. Oh! Around goes TJ. This could be big. I saw Austin Collins going around as well. Most people managed to miss it. Oh no, Thad. Right at the end there. Let's back this up and have a look at what happened to Crampton. See if we can get a tighter shot here. So it's just on corner exit. Oh, Crampton's gotten loose there. You can see him sliding. And he just overcorrects it. Austin Dan, nowhere to go. Austin spits off to the left. He doesn't get collected, but it does check up the 74 of Collins, who also starts going around. Slammer has contact there. Like Rickard has a spin, so too does the 13. Where's the 21? There's the 21. Oh, and he just turns right. Like he was trying to get back on the gas and shot him straight into the fence. Poor Thad. He's gonna have a lot of damage on that car now. It looks like most people who were involved with that have come down into the pits. It's still the 38 of Thomas Harmon leading the way, with Jonathan Hernandez second, but now Matt Horton in third with Matt Sisler in fourth. Now Thomas will have lane choice for this restart, as over half the field is in the pits. That's crazy. Some people starting to come off pit lane now. Have a look at our little pit lane graphic. There goes Jonas off of the pits. Slammer coming out now. Still quite a few cars in the pit lane there. Looks like Kraus in the 7 is on the move. Sanchez. Campbell. Austin Dan still in the pits. He's just come out now. Fizikemi's on his way out. Thad is on his way out. But Cranton's still in the pits. He hasn't made a move yet. Looks like he is going to go all that down here. Getting all of his damage fixed. But we're getting ready for the restart. Looks like Harmon has chosen the inside lane. As I'm seeing, it says Niederhelm is out. I didn't see Niederhelm go into the pits. So I'm hoping that's some kind of an issue, rather than he left from damage. But here we go for the restart. Harmon, Hernandez, and Horton is your top three. Sisler out of 4. And we are green. Good jump there for Thomas Harmon as he fires it away from pole. Got Triple H at the front of this field with Harmon, Hernandez, and Horton. Here comes Sisler in a 93 car looking to make a move. The 2 car Reggie Ortega right up in this as well. The background, I saw the 5. Scott Rickard getting a little bit racy back there. As Sisler has made his way into 3rd underneath the Horton. Here comes Ortega now, trying to take that P3 away. Chris Champeau up in this battle as well. So too is a 61 of Corey Cook. And Reggie will take over P2 with authority. Oh, what happened to Thomas? Did Thomas get loose? He did. That gave the lead to the 88 of Hernandez, who is now under pressure from Sisler. We got 3 wide back there for 5th. Almost 4 wide. And Corey Cook is right up in this battle as well. Corey Cook looking to the low side on Hernandez. Sisler looking to go to the middle. He just shot up behind Hernandez before Chris Champeau could fill the gap. Here goes Sisler now, peeking to the inside. Looks like he's just clear of Hernandez. Oh, maybe not. It was almost clear of Hernandez. Hernandez will maintain the lead. Corey Cook sliding in line behind the 12 of Champeau. Champeau now going to go for the lead on the inside of Hernandez. Forces Hernandez to take a slightly wider line there. Hernandez with the momentum will maintain. Only just so over the 12. Some real intense pack racing going on at the front of this field. Had Failer, unfortunately, with his engine damage, it's fallen off the back of the pack. As darkness descends over the track, the sun hid behind a cloud there briefly. It gave them a little bit of an extra grip boost. It's still just Hernandez holding on. See Chris Champeau just trying to side draft in there a little bit as they're coming along the front chute. Sisler trying to figure which one of these two does he want to go with. Which one does he want to work with the most? At the moment, he's doing all the work with Hernandez. Side by side, Sisler and Champeau. I think they had a little bit of contact there. That's allowed Hernandez to break free from these guys slightly. Thomas Harmon back on the move. Almost 4 wide. I saw the 74 get loose. That's not the 74. Oh, big crash. I saw the 67 was towards the epicenter of that. So let's see what unfolds here for the driver of the 67. That is Brian Chambliss. Brian with an I. Oh, it's actually way, way up in front. Corey Cook in the 61. Oh, okay. So Thomas comes up, gets into the 61 of Cook. Cook slides to the right in front of Horton, hits the wall. Meanders back down. Runs back into the side of Harmon. The 13 of... Oh, wait, no, that's not Masia. That's, Oh, what's his name? I think that was Logan there. Cannelly. So why does Travis spin out here? So we have that happening. So essentially there's two wrecks here. We go back to the 67 now. This is part 2 of the wreck we're looking at. Oh, and that's Austin Dan checking up in front of the 67. Unfortunately, Chambliss nowhere to go. The 74 and the 13 get into it. And unfortunately, Scott Rickard joins them. Slammer with nowhere to go. Slams into Collins. Mark Pentecoff just misses it. Oh, it's the fake 74 we're looking at. The 103.74. Yes. That was my confusion. That's Dustin Franklin there. And now we've got a whole bunch more cars in the pits. Now, I think Tua Reggie Ortega is leading this race. Which means I think maybe Hernandez pitted, which he did. And Ortega did not. There we go. Ortega is going to bring it into the pits this time, no? That'll give the lead back to Hernandez. The lights are out on the pace car. We're going to go around one more time. So Crampton is out of the pits, 9 laps down. And this actually really benefited Thad Faylor. It gave him some more time to get some more damage fixed. So the order we got it right now. Your top 6. Hernandez, Champeau, Sisler, McAnally, Ward. And I think it was James Watson there in P6 as well. Ortega is scored 7th, but he is not 7th. Got Cook and Masia still in the pits. They've both already gone a lap down. And Cook's just come out of the pits after getting most of his damage fixed. I don't think he'll make it to the back of the line. In fact, both of them have just come out of the pits. I don't think they'll make it to the back of the line before we go green. Pace car's going to make that hard left turn into pit lane. The 44 of Clayton Ward starts experimenting with alternate dimensions already.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
We are back underway. Hernandez chose the inside line. And he fires off really well there. He already has about 3 or 4 car lengths lead going into turns 1 and 2. The battle still rages on behind him between Sisler and Champeau. McAnally right up in this battle now in the 19 car. He peeks to the inside of Champeau. Like he's not going to quite have the run this time. all the draft and the momentum sits in that outside lane. Hernandez tries to break that in the corners by going down to the low lane from the top. Still a lot of unsureness in some of these cars as they go through the field. A couple of cars just look a little bit nervous along the back straight. 12 of Chris Champeau, though, is probably cool, calm, and collected, and very composed as he contemplates a move on the 88 of Hernandez. See Ward and Watson fighting back there for the 5th position. Even though Champeau will have all the momentum there on the outside line over Hernandez, Hernandez, using the inside line, will maintain the lead in front of him. Connolly looking to the extreme outside, running the Larson line. He's got extra momentum over Champeau right now. So once more, Hernandez slips right up and in front of Champeau. Chris is going to go for the move to the inside. Can Jonathan defend it? And it looks like not this time. At the line, it was still Hernandez in the lead, but Chris Champeau now takes it from him and gets clear. As I said, still a lot of very nervous cars in the background there. As Hernandez almost followed in the tyre tracks of Chris Champeau going into turns 3 and 4. And is absolutely hounding the back of Chris Champeau there. And it's a very tight-knit group here at the front of the field. With Champeau, Hernandez, McCannley, Sisler, Watson, and Dan. And even the 44 of Clayton Ward. Ken Campbell just waiting in the wings behind him with Reggie Ortega and Scott Rickard. Even though most of the field pitted there, as Crampton just towed from the back straight, even though most of the field pitted there on that last caution, I don't think they can make it to the end of the race. I think that might have still been a little bit too early. And Crampton is out. Let's set the camera to focus on crashes here a little bit. See what's going on through the field. Look at James Watson as he's behind a 3-wide situation between Dan, McAnally, and I think that's Sisler, who was Piggy in the middle for a while. Still is Piggy in the middle, actually. There's still 3 wide coming off a turn 2. Clayton Ward just about caught the fence there a little bit. Now those single filed out. Looks like the battle is back on for the lead as well. Oh, into the fence. That was Sisler. Cleared himself over the nose of Dan. That's damage for both those cars. Probably more so Sisler would have been the right front damage. As a battle is still brewing at the top of the times. Between the 12 and the 88. Cannelly trying to make this a 3-car battle. Just doesn't quite have the legs on him to do it. Hernandez almost pushing this Champeau along the front straight, which is very curved for a straightaway. Hernandez with the big inside run all the way down to the white line. Pulls up door to door, Champeau. Oh, as in the background there, someone getting sideways. Lots of battles going on around the track. Austin Dan now trying to make this a 4-car battle for the lead. I just think a couple laps ago, Austin Dan was in the fence. How quickly fortunes can change around here. Obviously, the damage on Austin Dan's car fairly minimal. Austin Dan takes over 3rd. And it looked like it was with draft assistance from Hernandez there going through 3 and 4. As Scott Rickard looks to make the move on Sisler. That is for P6. As the 15er Ken Campbell trying to buy into this battle for the top spot. Oh, Austin Dan, big move to the inside. He had so much momentum over Jonathan Hernandez. And it looks like he's going to take it here as they come out of turn 4. Gets a big push from Hernandez going along the front straight here. Hernandez dives back down to the low side. Oh, and Hernandez loose. Hernandez is going to lose out here. He gets a reprieve from the big gap that was behind McAnally. But he drops now into the clutches of Ortega and Rickard. Go back up to the battle for the front. Even though the battles aren't huge here for the front of the pack, it's just doing enough to disrupt the flow of this front group, and it's allowing the rest of the pack to catch up. Here goes Ken Campbell now looking to the inside of McAnally. He's just not going to quite have the legs for it. Austin Dan looking for the lead on Champeau. And Austin Dan actually led that lap as well. Hanley trying to get right up behind Austin Dan. And they're going to go just about 3 wide. Cannelly pushing Dan along the back straight. Dan now running the extreme outside. Cannelly on the inside with 3 wide per second. As Ken Campbell was picking in the middle. Oh, but Cannelly. Got to be careful making that move. That's how you get turned into defense real quick. Oh, in the background there, someone just spat off to the inside. A lot of these cars still battling, very loose. But I think we're going to take a quick opportunity here to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we'll continue on with the racing action here from the Revive California Speedway 160 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. Welcome back to the Revive the Auto Club Speedway 160, and we are pack racing here. We're also just about to encounter some light traffic. Thad Faylor just up the road, Travis Massia a little bit more further up the road from him. But look at the way these guys are battling it out. They're mostly just running in the top couple of lanes for the front of the pack. It seems to be where all the passes are being made. And Ender's still trying to get that bottom lane going. It's definitely starting to get a little bit spicy here. You can see Austin Dan has taken the lead of the race. That happened just as I was throwing to the commercial break. Austin Dan trying to get the draft off of the 21, and then everyone immediately snaking down to follow him. As the 15 of Ken Campbell tries to sweep around the 12, and he does so. That's not the 15, that's the 15. The battle is on now between Campbell and Champeau. Remember, this is the battle for P2. Champeau takes it back. And then immediately straight back underneath was Ken Campbell. McCannally follows him. I think Champo might have just caught the fence a little bit there coming out of 4. He just caught the fence in the middle of 1 and 2. It's all happening here right now. See the battle still raging on behind for P4 between Rickard, Champo and Hernandez. As the battle for the lead is holding up between Dan Campbell and McAnally. And in the background there's even more battling going on. That's Harmon on the inside, Clayton Ward on the outside, James Watson, Kyle Kraus, Andrew Griesbaum in this. We reached the halfway point, 40 laps down, 40 laps to go. And now we're letting iRacing decide which race is more exciting. And I definitely think it is the race for the lead. Austin Dan still held on to the lead for the last lap. And Campbell desperately trying to change that, but so too is Logan McAnally. Go 3 wide across the line. Campbell was scored as 3rd there coming across the line. McAnally was just 2nd. But now McAnally has taken the lead. Oh, he's loose. He had all the momentum and then he didn't. And that ruined Campbell's run there a little bit as Austin Dan flirting with the outside fence, ends 3 and 4. He tapped it a couple of times with the back of his car. I don't know how he held on to it. As I saw the 05 of Rickard getting into the fence. Field's starting to catch up to Travis Massey in the 13. Caught up in one of those earlier crashes. Austin Dan once more on the fence. He lost his momentum. Ken Campbell took it real good on him there. Dan really flirting with that fence mid-corner in 1 and 2. Travis Massey wants to get out of the way. Here comes Ken Campbell, diving down to the inside, using the draft of the 13 car. He will get himself into the lead. Now that's a California slide job right there. Oh, as the 13 of Massey came up the track to get full arc into the corner. He's unintentionally helping Campbell there. Oh, and now Travis is going to be stuck at the top of the track. Austin Dan goes back to the lead once more. 2 of Reggie Ortega being pushed heavily from the 19 of Logan McAnally. Travis is now 2 laps down. I don't know how, but Franklin was apparently scored in front of Slama last lap, according to one of my softwares. Ortega right up behind Campbell. Goes for a big dive to the inside. He's going to do something like that. He's got to get around both of them, not just Ken. Goes side by side with Dan. Well, Austin Dan playing a dangerous game there. Weaving across the back straight. Breaking the draft. Ortega in a great spot here to try and take a win. Oh, it's Austin Dan just sneaks down in front of the 2 car there. See what he's doing. He's trying to give Ortega the draft on the straights. So he stays side by side with Campbell. Gives a dirty air to Campbell in the corner to try and make him tight. So Ortega now takes over second just from Campbell. Racing action these guys have been putting on. Nothing short of a spectacle. The entertainment value is through the roof here at the front of the pack. Sisler has come into the pits. Green flag stops possibly underway here with 30 to go. Caution's out. Trying to see who it was. I think it might have been Griesbaum in the 68. No. Oh, I was close. It was the 18. Oh, no, not Brian. All right. Let's get the full scope here of what happens. It comes off the corner. There's the 13 of Massio. Oh, you see the back end just stepped out on him. He's turning it right to try and get it back under control. Does take it to the apron, but that's where the rear end swings back out. Brian, wrong place, wrong time. Huge front end to front end contact. Around goes the 18. And Brian Pizzakemi with big damage there. As everyone comes into the pits, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we will be going to the checkered flag, so make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Revive the California Speedway 160 coming up very shortly. Welcome back to the Revive the California Speedway 160 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. Austin Dan came into the pits in first and comes out of the pits in first. Clayton Ward and Matt Horton get a wave around. So we've got Dan, Ortega, McAnally, Hernandez, Champeau, and Collins as your top six. Great to see Austin Collins right up there. Right on his ass was the 38 of Thomas Harmon. No surprise, Brian Pizzicemi still in the pits, getting damage fixed. Patrick Orr already back out on track. Those are the ones that cause it that don't get as much damage. Let's see what we can do here. It'll be 27 laps to go when we get the green. And we are racing. Austin Dan with a big runaway here as we get the green. Austin Collins trying to make some magic happen in the back there. He goes down underneath of Hernandez. And we just had Pizzicemi come into the live chat saying that he is dead. So that's very unfortunate for Pizzicemi. As the battle is on for the lead. To Reggie Ortega trying to get to the inside of Austin Dan. Remember, everyone has fresh tires. Everyone has enough gas to make it to the end. And here comes Thomas Harmon, our pole sitter. The first time Thomas has broken into the top six since dropping out of it. Side by side, Ortega and Dan remain. Like Thomas in the top five now. How about that? And now Reggie Ortega will take over the lead from Austin Dan. Bump draft. They're going down the back straight. Just as Reggie slid up in front of him. If Dan had made that contact any sooner, then Reggie would have been in the fence. Big melee of cars behind our two leaders here, who are still duking it out for the lead. Because it's just the two of them here, side drafting will come into effect. That's why Austin Dan's getting such a good run there coming into turn 3. He clears Ortega. See McAnally right back there in third. He's trying to close this gap. So Ortega dives to the inside once more. Austin Dan right at the fence. Reggie doesn't clear, but he will side draft. As it looks like Thomas Harmon got loose once more, and he wasn't the only one. Ortega going all the way down to the bottom of the track here on the front chute. Trying to break down the possibility of side draft there. If I was Austin Dan, I might have thought about chasing him down there. Ooh, that was very close there for Austin Dan. Cutting across the nose of Ortega going into turn 3. That's how you get shenanigans. As the 18 of Patrick Orr is back in the pits. And Ortega, he has the run coming out of turn 2. Austin Dan might have just clipped the fence a little bit coming out of 2 there. It looked like Ortega was trying to just guide Austin Dan up into the fence a little bit there. As Austin Dan maintained the lead coming across the line. Once more, Reggie with the big dive to the inside while Austin runs the fence. Oh, that was so close to contact. Both of these drivers playing the dangerous game. And all this battling is just bringing the rest of the pack back into it. As Ortega now takes the high line. Lost a lot of ground at Austin Dan that time. He'll gain it back in the draft, but it means that he probably is not going to have a crack at the lead. Going into 1 and 2 this time. Laps are ticking away. Got less than 20 to go. Actually, we'll have just 17 to go here. And Travis Massier is in the pits. In the 13 car. Reggie Ortega tries to go for the move once more as Austin Dan got the fence big time. Here comes Hernandez. Reggie could have had Austin cleared there. Chose to stay down on the lower line though. Oh, 2 cars. That's Rickard and Champeau. That one should be a caution. That's 2 cars involved. What happened here? Caution is out. Oh, and it looks like Champeau was going to try and go for the move on McAnally. Came down across the nose of the 05 of Rickard. Unfortunately, Rickard is out of the race. That is big damage. His left rear is not turning whatsoever. Looks like he is still going to attempt to take it to the pits though, so good on him. And I think this is our fourth caution of the race. And Reggie Ortega is scored as the leader. But Reggie just had his nose ahead of Austin Dan there when the caution came out. And everyone's pitting. Ooh, we got a couple stay-outers. They're a lap down though. Corey Cook in the 61. He's 1 lap down. And Patrick Orr in the 18. He's 7 laps down. Ortega goes into his pit stall. Let's bring up the pit graphic again. It's just a mess of numbers in that. And it looks like the 7 is going to be the first one off pit road. That's Kyle Kraus. Just have a look at this here. Kraus must have taken 2 tires. He is the only one to take 2 tires. Reggie Ortega went from being P1 to P4 as both Austin Dan and Ken Campbell got out of the pits before him. Oh yeah, he was slower by a whole half a second than Austin Dan and Ken Campbell, who both had 13.8 second stops. Reggie Ortega 14.3. So there you go. So it looks like Patrick Orr and Travis Massey are going to get the wave around, as Corey Cook was actually the lucky dog. Lights are out. We're going to go green this time. And it looks like Kyle Kraus is going to choose the outside lane for this restart. First time the outside has been chosen. See how it's going to work out for him. I mean, to be fair, it's not a bad choice. The outside is where the majority of the rubber has been laid down on the track. As we're going to get the green here with just 12 laps left in this race. That's going to be Kraus, Dan, Campbell, Ortega, Hernandez, and McAnally. That's your top 6. Here we go. Hopefully for the last time, the pace car is going to make that hard left turn into pit lane. And Kyle Kraus on the outside line controls the restart.
Go, go, go. Green
And looks
flag.
like he went about halfway through, but he got a really good jump. Reggie Ortega timing the start pretty well there. All side by side with Austin Dan. In fact, pulls his nose just ahead slightly, going into the corner. And just taking right side tyres is going to make Kraus a little bit loose. Oh, but there's a big crash behind. And it looks like the 74-103 was a focal point in that one. Oh, there's contact with the 38 of Harmon. Just back this up again. Take a slow look at it once more. See, Thomas thought he was going to get the run in between McAnally and Griesbaum there. And Franklin was not prepared for it. The 39, nowhere to go. The 12, nowhere to go. The 25, nowhere to go. Look at everyone stacked in the outside lane there. They are all going to absolutely catch a piece of it. Boris Sanchez is in that one. Damn. But the 44 Clayton Ward also had a spin in all this. Let's see what unfolded for Clayton. Oh, he spun like a Beyblade. So he was behind it. He pulls down to the inside. And he gets tagged by the 25. Ah, no. And yep, spinning like a Beyblade goes Clayton Ward. Dang. Kyle Kraus is leading it from Austin Dan, Reggie Ortega, Ken Campbell, and Jonathan Hernandez. That's your top 5. And there's probably almost no cars here that have no damage whatsoever. Like everyone's had a little piece of something in this race tonight. We should get the 1 to green this time by, which means we'll get the green flag with just 8 laps left to go in this race. And you never know, Kyle's strategy with 2 tyres here might be absolutely goated. She chooses the outside lane once more. So Austin Dan to the inside, Reggie Ortega to the inside, Ken Campbell to the outside, Hernandez to the inside, and Austin Collins in P6 to the outside. Got Griesbaum, Chambliss, Sanchez, and Slama also in the top 10 right now. Now I wonder if Kraus is going to change when he's going to go in the box. Whether he's going to go straight away or whether he's going to wait till about halfway again. Or whether he's going to wait until the complete other side of the box. We just don't know. But here we go. This pace car is going to make that hard left turn into pit lane. We've had 5 cautions and this is going to be the 5th restart. And we're off and racing. Goes about halfway through the box again. And once more, Ken Campbell in the outside lane behind Kyle Kraus. Gets a really good restart there. Just pulled his nose ahead of Austin Dan. Austin Dan using all the pace of the inside line. Gets back up into P2. This time we don't have a multi-car wreck on the back straight. Dan now surges to the inside of Kraus, trying to take the lead away. And Kraus with the momentum stays in front. 7 laps to go. Got 3 wide for third between Hernandez, Ortega, and Campbell. And Kraus is absolutely doing the biz right now. He's pulling away from Austin Dan. And don't forget, Dan has 4 tires. Kraus has 2. See the Forrest Sanchez trying to make some moves as well. This is the first time Sanchez has been in the top 10 for a long time. As the field goes around, Jack Sanders, who's just running around on the apron there, might have just been coming out of the pits around, is the Forrest Sanchez. I didn't want to see that happen, not to Jaron. And he's underneath the Chambliss and Slammer. Oh, you can see he's already fighting loose there. We've got the 00 of Marquez and a 93 of Sisler battling door to door behind him. And it looks like the 00 just kind of pushed the 93 up into Sanchez. Around goes Jaron, around goes Matt Sisler. And that is why we have another caution in this race. Oh, that sucks. I was just talking about how Jaron's up in the top 10 for the first time in forever. But, you know, commentators and curses. So with that, I think we just miss going into the first of our overtime attempts. Going to be 4 to go at the line this time. As the lights go out, that means that we're getting the green with 3 to go. There'll be green, green, white checker. The lights stay on, which means we go one more time around, which means we're going to have a natural green, white checker. We get a caution before the drivers reach the white flag. Then we will go into our first of 2 attempts at an overtime finish. Now let's have a quick little look at the order here. It's going to be Kraus, Dan, Hernandez, Campbell, Ortega, Griesbaum, Champeau, Collins, Harmon, and Slammer. That's your top 10. Just waiting for people to equalize out where they are compared to people who are pitted. It looks like Sanchez is probably going to be in about 17th here. Maybe 18th. I'll be 17th because Travis Masio was a lucky dog wave around. As once more, Kyle Kraus chooses the outside lane. But if Austin Dan wants to beat Kraus here, he's going to have to hope that he gets a mega run before we get to the white flag. Because if he just tries normally like he has been this whole race, he's not going to get that move made in 2 laps. Especially if he doesn't time to start well. Here we go. For the unofficial green-white checker finish. Pace car makes a hard left turn into pit lane. They've actually backed up from the pace car a little bit there before he peeled off. And he goes pretty much straight away. Another really good jump there for the outside lane behind him. Although Griesbaum looked like he might have missed the shift a little bit. Oh, and there's already a crash. Sort of 39 of Watson going around. Alright, what happened here to Watson? Let's get a different view on the situation. There's a 74-103. They're 3 wide there. And he just kept coming down into the side of Jonas. Then he comes back up, taps the 39, which also spins out the 00. Sanchez misses James. Just bumps into Jonas. James gets straightened out. Jonas got straightened out as well. And the 74-103 is straight. But that one was caused by the 74-103 car. As we're still trying to catch the pace car here. He's over in turn 4. Marquez has gone to the pits. Looks like Rickard and Pizzicami are just spectating the rest of the race from the pits. Baylor, Horton, Cook, they've come in. So too is Ward and Watson. I'm not surprised Watson's come into the pits. His damage fixed. We'll get ready to go into the first of 2 overtime attempts. And it looks like the 18. It's Patrick Orr. We'll go around and get the Lucky Dog wave around. That means that Jack Sanders got a little piece of that crash somewhere. He was not the Lucky Dog candidate. James Watson already back out on the track. But either the damage wasn't severe or it's too severe to give a shit about. And that's my 1 for the broadcast. Go back into our normal camera angle here as the lights go out, and once more the 7 Carl Kraus chooses the outside. This time he's got Ken Campbell on his inside, Austin Dan out of 3, Hernandez out of 4. We've got Ortega out of 5 and Griesbaum out of P6. Pad Failor is 1 lap down. First car 1 lap down. So if we get another caution, he will be back on the lead lap. Remember, this is the first of 2 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. I personally think we should go back to unlimited attempts, but I like drama. So here we go now for hopefully the last restart of the race again. They're backing up from the pace car slightly. Pace car is going to make the hard left turn into pit lane. When is Kraus going to go? And he fires early.
Green flag.
Another good start for the outside line. All 3 of them in the top 6 on the outside. Got a really good restart there. Hernandez straight up into second. Austin Dan straight down to the inside, making it 3 wide for P2. They're staggered 3 wide. Hernandez backs out of it. Hernandez lost all momentum there. Carl Kraus leads them down into turn straight 4 for the penultimate time. It is going to be white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it for the 7 of Carl Kraus. They're 4 wide going down the front straight. And I honestly don't remember the last time, if ever, the 7 of Carl Kraus has a win here on a Tuesday night. As there's a big crash behind, Griesbaum's in it. Carl Kraus thunders his way through turn strain 4. He just has about 300 feet to negotiate. And he will come down and he will win the Revive California Speedway 160ers. Has a crash just behind coming to the line. P2 goes to Reggie Ortega, P3 Ken Campbell, P4 Austin Dan, P5 is Thomas Harmon. What a way to finish this race. But well done, Carl Kraus. What an emphatic victory. Kraus, Ortega, Campbell, Dan, Harmon, Hernandez, Collins, Slama, McAnally, and Horton. That's your top 10. As we go over the page, it's Franklin, Sanchez, Watson, Cook, Pentacuff, Massia, Champeau, Griesbaum, Sisler, Chambliss. Go over once more. There is Paylor, Ward, Orr, Marquez, Sanders, Pickard, Pizzicami, Essery, Crampton, and Niederhelm. And this page doesn't matter because I did not race. But that is the way the cookie crumbles there at the end of the race. Kraus already parked up in pit lane and left the building. So we are going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have driver interviews. So make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, it is time for driver interviews, and we're going to kick things off with our hard charger award. Unfortunately, a hard charger can't make it to the interview booth because he has a crying child to attend to. But tonight's hard charger going from 25th to P9 going to be the 19 of Logan McAnally. And, he was up towards the front for a lot of it as well. Absolutely put in a really, really good performance. Such a shame that he can't be here for the interview because I really wanted to pick his brain about how the car felt for him. But we'll give him the reprieve because Brian Child does take priority. So with that, we're going to move on to our third place getter, and third place tonight goes to the 15 of Ken Campbell. Ken, you put in a little bit of a hard charger performance yourself. In fact, all of the top three did. All three of you started in the double digits and coming away with a top three in what was a fairly chaotic race here at the Auto Club Speedway.
It definitely was. I feel like I passed about 200 cars tonight because on the initial start, I feel like I had a decent little run, got up there, got involved in the first caution, and went to the back. Was coming up with Scott through that. We were making pretty good headway, and then got caught up in the second one and had to go in the back and fix damage. And so then just having to keep coming through the field. But I've got to say though, this was the most fun auto club race I think I've ever had.
And it didn't come down to fuel mileage either, which I know was a big complaint for you last week. But,
Yeah.
obviously you were shirtless here tonight, mate, because you put on one hell of a performance for P3.
Well, I appreciate it. I love Auto Club. I'm usually good at Auto Club, but it's usually a track position race as well. You qualify well, you stay up front. Everybody just kind of rides single file. You'll have a slider here and there, but man, I feel like everybody was just throwing haymakers left and right all race. There was 80 laps, and I feel like I was wrecking loose on about 60 of them. So yeah, and you were always racing somebody hard and somebody different. So it wasn't even just the same guys. I mean, you would eventually get around them, but I raced a lot of people tonight. Everybody did a fantastic job, and yeah, it was a lot of fun racing everybody. That was intense. I'm definitely gonna look forward to going back and watching that one.
Yeah, don't forget there was also about 10 different lanes you could take for each corner as well, and everyone took both corners differently.
Yeah, yeah. And everybody was trying to kind of game everybody else, and so it's like, well, I ran this lane this time, so I'm going to run this other one, now. And so you couldn't trust that, okay, because they ran it this way, that's how they're going to do it again. And yeah, everybody was able to run multiple lanes. It's one thing for like the track to give you multiple lanes, but it's another for the drivers to be able to utilize multiple lanes themselves. Because usually it's like, well, I'm a catfish. I'm always on the bottom, or somebody ripping the fence. But people were mixing it up a lot tonight, and yeah, it made it really interesting, really fun.
All right, now let's look at the final couple of cautions here. First had a natural green white checker, and then obviously the overtime green white checker. What was the mindset going into each of them, and what was it that eventually got you to get into P3 here tonight?
Yeah, so for the other two, I was starting P4, and so Kyle was on the outside line leading. So honestly, what I was wanting to do was give him a good shove right to start, and then carry that momentum around the outside out of two, and be in second place when we come out of two there. And then that happened really, really good for the next, I guess, the last caution, because it put me up into second place for the final restart. And I did not want to be in second place for that final restart, but I was like, all right, well, I got to go for it. And Kyle had been going a little early, so I was like, okay, he's going to go a little bit later. Felt like I timed it pretty well. I think it was Austin behind me. Um, I I definitely got like a good bump right there, so I got as good of a start as I could possibly imagine. And from that point, I didn't know if I wanted to pick the second or the third lane. I was trying to get enough momentum to get to Kyle there, but I didn't want to go all the way to the top. But also, I think Austin was going to the inside, so I was just trying to pick the one with the best momentum, and had it, had second coming out of four there, and was gonna defend the high side, but then I saw Reggie going low, and then I knew Austin was gonna be in between us, and so I heard Reggie start going real low, and I'm like, all right, I've got to cut the corner a little bit, and I knew Austin was gonna be there, but I didn't know exactly where he was gonna be, and so I was trying to pinch as much as I could, and just kind of continue the run and not get side drafted too much, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if I came down too much. He came up, whatever. We ended up wrecking that, and it turned just enough for Reggie's nose to beat me out. I think if I don't get turned, I think I get P2 there, but I will gladly take P3 with as much fun as I had tonight.
All right, now we go from the big sweeping wide open auto club with 50 different lanes to the toughest track to tame in Darlington. So what's the feeling like for you as we head into South Carolina and the Lady in Black?
I love running laps at that track, and I hate racing at that track. Just getting out and turning laps is fun as hell. And then I get out there and I'm like, why are you running this lane and get out of my way? And because you just get super tight there. 3 and 4 is fine. 1 and 2 is my nemesis, but it's always fun. It's usually cleaner than you would think. You would think with a track being that hard, there's going to be a whole lot of cautions, but I think everybody treats the lady with the respect that she deserves, and you get a little bit of the, if they go down on track, the cautions don't come out as much, and so you get way more green flag runs than you would expect. And I really like green flag runs. I think everybody does, and so I think that's part of the allure of going there is you can kind of plan on that.
All right, now before we let you go here tonight, Ken, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, as always, first and foremost, shout out to my wife Casey and my kids Logan, Jet, and Easton. And actually, Thursday is my 15th wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary, Casey. Love you so much. Everyone in the league. I mean, as you saw tonight, it's just a great group of guys to race with and hang out with, hanging out in Discord. We're having a good time whether we're wrecking or not. And tonight was no exception. All the admins, everybody that puts the league on does a fantastic job. Team Conti for their support. I feel like I've gotten to be a much better driver, and hopefully it shows. But yeah, so appreciate them and you for always calling a great race up in the booth.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Ken. Congratulations on coming home with P3 here tonight, and look forward to seeing what you can do next week in South Carolina.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, guys, that was the 15 of Ken Campbell, our third place getter here tonight. And coming up next, gonna have our second place getter here tonight, and our second place getter might actually have a little bit of a curse here because it's been a long time since he's been up here, and he changed to the 2 car. His first time getting the podium in the 2 car is gonna be in P2. It is, of course, Reggie Ortega. Now, Reggie, I've seen this kind of curse before. There was an outlaw kart driver who was number 3, and he was cursed with always getting P3 on the podium. But second place is not bad, especially with how chaotic that race became in certain parts.
Yeah, I was really happy that Jonathan was able to give me the number. I've had some great luck with it throughout my time, and then there was a stint where I did have some bad luck, running with it and all that, and I feel like now it's coming back. And man, that was a tight race at the end there. Definitely a tight race even before all the cautions came out, and God, it was so much fun. I had so much fun tonight just racing around everybody really in the top 10, and even Austin when we had that time the battle for the, I want to say it was like 10 something laps, and yeah, it was so much fun. I had so much fun tonight.
It was definitely quite the incredible race to witness. Just seeing all the moves being done throughout the field, all the chopping and changing, and nose cutting offs and big dives, and especially for the lead. Um, I reckon this has probably been like, even though we had what, 6 cautions, 7 cautions, this is definitely a 10 out of 10 race as far as entertainment value for what we've had this season so far.
Oh yeah, highly agree. I did feel like we were gonna have this many cautions just because, like what you said, all the dive bombs into the corner, the slide jobs, the cutting the noses and stuff like that. I mean, I definitely got a fair share of noses being cut for sure. I mean, one of them put me in the wall and probably initiated the caution behind me at that time, but um yeah, I really did think we were gonna have a lot more cautions than we did tonight, but it turned out great. Like we definitely was able to get a long green flag run, and we were all able to run different grooves and gain position. And, it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun tonight. I wish at the end there, I really did wish I had one more lap, but it's yeah, it's all the cautions and stuff really kind of killed all that.
Well, let's talk about that last lap, specifically the run to the line. You got a good run there on Ken, and you guys were just about door to door. Then that little bit of contact just got your nose ahead of him coming across the line.
Yeah, uh, throughout the race, I was actually able to figure out the bottom on both sides. So I saved it for just in case I really needed it, and obviously the top, I actually prefer the top at this track on in any race car. And I figured out something in turn 2 better than everybody else that I noticed. So I knew I could pick any lane right at the bottom, bottom or top. And coming in line, I I really wish that I was shuffled out in a better position, because then I probably would have had a shot for Kyle. But um yeah, I was able to throw it in there, kind of like how everybody else was doing today, and I was able to really throw it in there, get some good grip coming out of the corner, and I was actually surprised that I got side by side with Ken, and I was going to try to keep it to his door, but last second, I was like, you know what? I think it'd be better if I just made it shorter and went down to the white line. And I think that's what like really initiated, the door banging and the wreck at the end there, because I don't think Ken knew where Austin was, but he knew like he was in between us somewhere, and he tried to follow me down, and then yeah, we almost killed each other there. But I was actually shocked. I was actually shocked that I got ahead of Ken there. I thought he had me.
All right, now let's look forward to next week, Reggie. Gonna be visiting the Lady in Black. So, what's the feeling like for you as we head into Darlington?
Oh man, this track has been a pain, and it's been great a few times. When I first started here in iRacing, actually loved Arlington, and then now recently, within probably like the last 2 years, it's definitely been a pain in my oh yeah, pain for sure. So not really looking forward to it, but at the same time, just looking forward to the great luck and what I've been having lately, and hopefully I could do it and continue it there.
All right, well, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. The broadcast, obviously, put on a really good show, and all the admins that have put it all together, and just all the great drivers that are in this league. I mean, I've had so much fun, and it's really hard to find that, and I've been having a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home P2 from 15th, I might add. And we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to South Carolina.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. That was the two of Reggie Ortega, tonight's second place getter, and a great second place for him. But coming up next, it's been a long, long time since he's visited Victory Circle. And, hopefully we get to see it happen a little bit more this season. It is, of course, the 7 of Kyle Kraus. Kyle, I was saying before to Ken, all the top three started in double digits and ended in the top three. And you're no exception. You started from 12th and come home with a really excellent victory here on a two-tire strategy of all things.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Corey. It's good to be back. It's been a long time since I've been here. I felt like two was my only choice. At the end, I was like battling for 10th, and I was like I'm just gonna keep battling for 10th. If I stop and take four, I'm just gonna take two and see what happens.
Well, it definitely worked out for you, especially with the way the cautions fell. You always just had your nose ahead of Austin there, and then that last restart, you got a good enough jump to just leave those three behind you, battling it out for P2.
Yeah, I wasn't sure I was gonna have enough. I, I I was prepared to have everybody pass me on that first restart, and then when I kind of held my own coming out of two and again through three and four where I felt like I was better anyway, I felt like I might have something and maybe I could hang on for a podium and stretching it for almost 10 laps was going to be a lot, but all the cautions certainly helped. I could hang on plenty for a lap or two.
So, what was the mindset going into both the natural green white checker and then the forced overtime? Because starting on pole, and every time you restarted there, you chose the outside line. What was the theory behind that?
I had experimented a lot with lines early in the race, and I just felt like I was really slow on the bottom, and I couldn't do anything. And I felt like the top was kind of the only place I could keep pace. Burned the tires off a bit, but for such a short run at the end there, I didn't have to worry about that. So I just started on the outside every time and just kept as much speed as I possibly could to try and hold that position and keep them from getting up beside me coming out of two.
All right, now let's look forward to next week. We're going to be going to South Carolina to visit the Lady in Black. So, what's the feeling like for you as we head into Darlington?
I love Darlington, and I would be really happy to race it, but I'm gonna miss next week for my kid's spring break. So
Ah.
I'll be watching your stream while I'm on the road.
All right, well, let me just check our schedule here then. So, the next time you'll be back will be for Bristol. So, what's your feeling about Bristol in 2 weeks then?
You know what? I'm gonna miss that race too, Corey. I
All right,
got, I got,
Talladega.
I got. I know I got too much travel these days. Yeah. Then we
Talladega
have an
in
off.
4 weeks.
Then we have an off week. I think I might be back for Talladega. Um, well, I don't know. I did manage to sneak a win in the Clash at the Daytona race, so maybe that bodes well for me again at Talladega.
All right, now before we let you go here tonight, Kyle, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, man. Well, definitely thanks to you as usual for the broadcast and doing such a great job in the booth. Thanks to all the admins for running the league, and thanks to everybody that shows up every week. This is a hell of a league, and it's a lot of fun racing here, and all the guys that show up make it a really good time.
All right, Kyle. Well, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home with your first victory in, I'm going to say, years.
It's been a while. It's been too long.
Yeah. And hopefully we can see you up the front here again, maybe with some kind of kooky strategy or something. But, we'll wait and see.
All right. Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That was tonight's winner, the 7 of Kyle Kraus with the two-tire strategy. But that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight. Thank you all so much for coming out. And as I said earlier, we are going to be going to Darlington next week. So until then, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. See you guys in South Carolina.